Hi, I'm Mayor of Hayward, Mark Salinas, and I wanted to thank all of the students at Winton Middle School for this invitation to talk about myself. Most importantly, to talk about my journey going to school and, of course, my journey becoming the mayor of the city of Hayward, the city that I was born in and the city that I was raised in. My story starts like many of your stories probably. I was born here in Hayward. I was born at St. Rose Hospital. After I was born, I was raised in the Schaefer Park neighborhood, right across the street from St. Bede's School. My friends and I would go to Weeks Park. We'd ride our bikes and we would just spend a lot of time outdoors and at the parks. We'd go to Glassbrook Elementary School and play basketball. And we liked going to Glassbrook Elementary School because the courts were low, and that was the only place where, as kids, we can dunk on the basketball courts. But for high school, I went to Hayward High. And if you're at Winton Middle School, there's a high likelihood that you're gonna be going to Hayward High. So go Farmers all day. High school was a good experience, I have to say. I had some great teachers, I had a great counselor, and anytime there were great opportunities that were available for students, they would introduce them to me. One experience that I will never forget, Miss Paquel had invited me to participate in the Close-Up program. Close-Up is a program for high school students to go to Washington, D.C., and you meet your legislators, you meet your senator, and you learn about how government works, and you learn about how the three branches of government operate. So I went with, in fact, one of my classmates I went with was a guy by the name of Damon Cicchetti. Damon and me and a bunch of other students went to Washington, D.C. We had a lot of fun. We learned about government. We all had breakfast. One morning we had breakfast with U.S. Congressman Pete Stark. And Pete Stark took us all to breakfast. It was probably one of the most powerful meetings I have ever had, because as a teenager, I was sitting down having breakfast with a congressman. After I graduated from Hayward High, I didn't know what I was going to study in college. And so I enrolled at Chabot College, and I participated in a program which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. I participated in the Puente Project. I'm a Puente student, just like many of you are. A lot of folks may not know this, but the Puente Project started at Chabot College. It was just an incredible experience. I got to learn more about colleges and universities, and I got to learn more about what kinds of careers came after college. And one of the careers that excited me was going into public policy and going into administration. After Chabot College and after the Puente Project, I transferred to San Francisco State University, where I majored in La Raza Studies in the College of Ethnic Studies, which is the only college of ethnic studies in the United States. San Francisco State University, where it really just opened the doors for me, where I learned different careers and of what to do after college. There's a lot of stuff to do out there once you finish college. I had a mentor who I worked for in the College of Education. His name was Dr. Jesus Contreras, and he was a professor, and he was also a director of a mentoring program there at San Francisco State. Right before I graduated with my bachelor's degree, my mentor, Dr. C, we all called him Dr. C, we were having lunch one day, and he had asked me, he goes, what was I thinking about after college, and what did I plan on doing? One of the things that he had encouraged me to do was to work in higher ed. And so he encouraged me. He said, what you really should do, you should go to graduate school and pursue a master's degree in education. No one in my family had ever gone to college and finished college. And right there, I decided that I would go. I applied, and lo and behold, I was accepted. I pursued a master's degree in educational administration and public policy at San Francisco State University. And it was hard. Graduate school, it's difficult, but it was there where I really knew that education was going to be the field that I pursue. After I finished, I successfully completed all my coursework. I started teaching. I got a job at Chabot College, where today I teach history and ethnic studies. I believe this year would be my 20th year at Chabot College. But in 2010, some colleagues of mine and some friends of mine were talking, and we were meeting, and we started talking about what was going on around town, what was going around Hayward. And we started to outline different issues and different problems and different concerns, and like at the end of any conversation, we all concluded by saying, well, we got to do something about it, right? A friend of mine said, well, you should run for city council. We kind of chuckled, over the idea for a moment. Out of that conversation, I decided to run for the Hayward City Council. So in 2010, I was elected to the Hayward City Council. Here in the city of Hayward, there's 160,000 people that live in Hayward. There's approximately 76,000 voters in the city of Hayward. And I was committed to shake the hand of every single one of those voters before Election Day. Now, I didn't shake every one of their hands, but we shook enough hands that we were elected our first attempt to run for the city council. And now this is where the story gets really interesting. At the end of my first term, the current mayor of Hayward, Mayor Sweeney, he had announced that he was retiring. So after talking to some really close friends and some really good confidants, and of course talking to my wife, Letty, we decided, you know what, let's run for mayor. Now the thing was this, is that my city council seat was up at the same time as the mayor's seat, and I could only run for one seat. And so if I lost the mayor's race, I was out off the council altogether. But I really believed that we had a chance at winning that campaign. And so I put all my chips on the table, and I lost. I lost that election by 724 votes. It was a heartbreak, and it was disappointing, but it was also sad because I had to leave. I had to leave my council seat, and that meant I was off of the city council. And if I were to run again, I had to wait 2 years for the next election to run for another open seat on the city council. And so, I thought about it, and I had a year to sort of think about what I wanted to do, and through a lot of encouragement by constituents and supporters, they really encouraged me to run again and get back on the council. So in 2016, I ramped up again, ran for the Hayward City Council, and I won, which was great news, because now Councilman Salinas was back. You have to realize, of the 160,000 people that live in the city of Hayward, there's only 6 council members. It really is a privilege to be in this chair. 2 years later, there was another mayor's election, and at this time, the incumbent mayor, Mayor Barbara Halliday, who is also a very good friend of mine, she was going to run again. I challenged her. I lost that race, but like anyone else, I dusted myself off, and I went right back to work as a councilman. Then 2 years later, I ran for re-election. I successfully was re-elected, and which was wonderful, and it was great. But there was also speculation that Mayor Halliday was going to retire. Mayor Halliday and I are good friends. She's a wonderful lady. And I called her one afternoon, and I told her, I said, listen, Mayor Halliday, if you run again for mayor, if you run for re-election for a third term, I'm not going to run. I just want you to know that. But I did tell her that if she were to retire and if she did not run, that absolutely I was going to run again. And she was very gracious, and she was very thankful that I talked to her and we discussed it. Shortly thereafter, she called me And very graciously, she told me that she planned to retire. But she said if I ran, that she would for sure support me for my bid for the mayor's office. When I ran for mayor in 2022, unbeknownst to me, I would run for mayor unopposed. To run unopposed is a signal to the candidate that you have broad citywide support to the mayor's chair. And so this really is a signal to what the future of the city of Hayward looks like. A kid from South Hayward, born and raised in South Hayward, can go to St. Bede's, can go to Hayward High, can go to Chabot College, then go to college, and then return home, run for office, and really be given the opportunity to represent the hometown that he was born in. The mayor's office is a pretty special place. And I think one of the most awesome responsibilities we have as a mayor is that we have the ability to really shape the vision of the city of Hayward. And the vision I have for the city of Hayward is to create Hayward into becoming the quintessential education city. And so it is my goal to create a seamless cradle-to-career pathway. Hayward is the one city where you can educate an entire family from preschool to graduate school. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk a little bit about my own journey in school and my journey becoming the mayor of the city that I love so much, the city that I was born in, Hayward.